Hey y'all, what's going on? Scott here. How are you? Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. Ours was very good Turkey Day. My wife Nancy handles all the side dishes, and I do the bird. So I don't know how you guys do yours, but I brine mine. So what is it? Cup of salt to every. Let me think here. I can't even think about it. Half a cup to every gallon of water. Use kosher salt. Let that puppy sit in the cold water for about 3 days. And I use stuff it full of rosemary and thyme sprigs, and then I use a oven roasting bag. Yum. So anyway, enough about food. We got more coming with Christmas, but let's talk a little bit about the build. So where are we? Well, we've got, as you can see now, the launches and the lifeboats are in. And I took the liberty of putting wood on them. And I'll put some rope on them too to make it look a little more realistic. What I did though is John at scaledex.com with the HobbyBoss, Arizona, he sends basically 2 for 1. So the scale decks, when it comes to the superstructure on the second level, the decks where the guns are, you can either go with the standard build that has them cut and pre-cut for those casings, the gun shields, or if you're going to use photo etch gun shields, he'll send it also plain, and then you can just put yours on top of that. Well, I chose to use the one that were pre-cut for the kit gun shields, so I have all this left over. And so now I've been doing everything in wood. So it just adds a nice appearance to it. So what else have we done? Well, we did the launches, where the launches come up and the main gangways. I'm goofing around with this back catapult only because we're going to have to put the plane in there, and I want to make sure it will clear that crane. And then, of course, we're going to worry about putting on the railings, the outside railings. So what else is going on? Again, this is just sitting there only because I don't really care to use it. If anybody wants that, just speak up. I'll be glad to email it, send it to you. I'm going to be using the Shapeways, so feel free to do that. And I'm also going to be using the Shapeway fighting turrets. The other thing is, I don't know if you guys do this, but I when I'm building a model, use a Sharpie, because you're going to keep on top of both, the model's instructions as well as the photo etch instructions. So I just kind of mark them out as I go when I get things done. So actually, no, I'm pretty current. I've only got one side of the guns done over here, the secondary guns. What were those, 5-inchers? So I only have half of that done, but it's starting to take shape. I'm kind of digging on it. What else can I tell you about it? Oh, the thing that always bothers me, and this is just my own private bitch, you guys can tell me if you agree or not. When you order the photo etch, I get mine from, it depends on the kit, of course, of which ones I think. There are so many great, White Ensign, Tom's Model Works, Edwards, Pontos, they all, and what's that other one? Fire? I can't think of the last part of it. There are so many great companies out there that make photo etch. My little pet peeve with Edward, although that's who I tend to use, is there are way more parts included than what they mention in the instructions. So by the time you get done, you're following the instructions and you're doing the model, there's a buttload of those left over. I really wish they would tell you, hey, just, slap this here, slap that here. But they don't. So that's my only little whine. But yeah, so feel free, use scaledex.com and grab those, especially on this model. I don't know if he does it for all the other models that he does hard decks for, the wood decks for, but that was great. So I'll continue to do that. Like the Bismarck, on her upper decks on superstructure, quite a few of them were wood. So that would come in handy. The other thing too is, if you look at the superstructure compared to that superstructure, which of course is much, much more fragile because it's 3D printed, and I just ordered the mooring stays too. Um, the photo etch railings, which I lost the instructions for, which is funny because I only opened the damn thing once. Let me see if I can show them to you. There they are. Those are the railings for the kit. They're not the railings for the 3D. So if you notice, I'm kind of working backwards. I'm working from the instructions. One of the very first things they have you do is work on the superstructure. And I'm like, I'm waiting on that for last. Just because of that reason. I want to make sure that the railings look good. So honestly, what I'll probably work on next will be the float planes. Then probably the cranes. I'll throw the rope on the lifeboats there. And I think I'll just continue to work forward. So that means the one and only smokestack, and then eventually the superstructure. If I really feel just not up to it, chances I'll start working on the exterior railings, which is a good discussion to have while we're talking about it. I meant to talk about this earlier. Pardon me, I didn't mean to make you sick there. When do you put on the railings? Do you put them on first while the kit is still in its main molded color? Do you put them on as you go? Do you put them on last? And what about painting them? Do you paint them first and then put them on? Or do you put them in their bare metal and then paint the whole thing at once and mask off the deck? How do you do it? I've read, I've seen, I've heard, I've studied a lot of different methodologies. And what I've come down to, it depends on what you're doing. So, as an example, on the superstructure, forget that one. On the superstructure, I will put the railings in first and then paint the whole thing. And it's done. On the railings that go on the superstructure here, I'll do them after the fact. I've heard that people will go ahead and do the outside railings before they even paint the model. My question on that is, well, how do you get the wood deck down? And aren't you taking a chance at really ripping them all out? So that's a good discussion. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on it. So anyway, I thought I'd give you an update. She's starting to get that busy look, which all battleships are known for. Missouri is really busy. Yamato, not so much. That's the reason I don't like the Yamato, quite honestly. You have that main island superstructure, and that's it. Whoopee. I'm not going to spend $80 on that model, although I have in the past, in a previous life. But yeah, I love that busy look. The Bismarck, all the American ships have it. The Roma from Italia had it, Italian. And then who else? The Richie Lou kind of, and the Jean Bart kind of, but not to the extent of the Americans and the Germans. But now, the Japanese cruisers, they had that busy look. So, last point of comments is, I know that this is a piece of American history. I love the dreadnoughts. Don't get me wrong, I play World of Warships, and I have like the Variag cruiser, I have the dreadnought, I have the Baron, which is a dreadnought for Germany. The American fleet at this point, and this is just my personal opinion, not so much of WoW. I'm not really excited with them. I think the Arizona is kind of funky looking, compared to like the true dreadnought where she was low to the ground. My wife always kind of looks at me kind of awkward when I say, like, let me see if I can think of one. Well, here, hold on, don't get sick on me. My Titanic. The Titanic has sexy lines. And my wife looks at me, what? How does Machine have sexy lines? Well, she does to me. She's got sexy lines. My car has sexy lines to me. The Queen Mary has sexy lines. The Missouri kinda, but this no sexy lines, none at all. Lusitania has sexy lines. Planes, F-14 Tomcat, very sexy. The Spitfire, sexy. The P-51, kind of sexy, only because of her sheer firepower and performance, but not as graceful lines as, say, the Spitfire. So anyway, my wife always looks at me and goes, "Okay, yeah, sure, that's sexy." And as she walks away, shaking her head. But yeah, I just don't see this as that sexy. But she's coming together. I'm really enjoying the build. I hope you guys are too. So I'm gonna let you go. I actually am at work, so I'll talk to you soon.